kickoff here, and we'll do it on ESPN. One thing you can do to help the fans, readers, listeners, et cetera, this week, please remind them to get to the stadium early, because we've got a capacity sold-out crowd, and we have noon kicks. Folks tend to come right before kickoff, so please, you would remind the fans to come early, because we're expecting big crowds at the gates at the time right before kickoff. So,
thanks,
Coach.
Thanks, Tony. Yep. You forgot to tell them to be very loud too. Okay, so
I think they figured that part
out. We need them to be there and be packed and be loud. You know, after reviewing some of the tape from this past Saturday, I thought we made some improvements in a lot of areas. Really, again, impressed defensively. You know, we had to defend many more possessions than we're used to. I'd say it was I think it was 15 or 16 possessions, and you know, with that, we had 8 3-and-outs, 2 touchdowns, and set up another. So, pretty impressive performance defensively. Obviously, late in the first half there, you know, giving them some first downs and giving them an opportunity to get the ball running. Had some penalties and gave up a couple scores there late. In general, there was a bit of sloppy play on both sides at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second, in particular offensively at the beginning of the second. But you know, overall did some really good things. I think there's a lot to build off of. Still more to improve on, and that's a good thing. We're still hungry, and nobody's content with what we're doing. We're looking forward to a great opportunity here this week with a Florida team that we know is always extremely talented, very good team. Team we're used to playing for a long time, being on our side, and coming back here, so we're looking forward to getting back home. That was a bit of a challenging road trip this past week with all that's going on at Vanderbilt, but I thought our players handled it very well, and especially with the way we came out and started so fast. And it's a good example of what we can do when we put all phases together for good periods of time. So that was a great start to the game. But getting back to Florida, a team that's a very, very good team. You know, they're always talented and well coached. You all know that. They've been dominant on the defensive side of the ball, first in the SEC. I think they're giving up less than, I think it's 2.9, less than 3 yards per rush, not giving up very many yards at all in the pass game. So been very dominant defensively, and offensively very efficient. You know, they are going to do what coach does, you know, and you know, that starts with them being a physical football team and being committed to the run game, and then booting and play action and things of that nature off of the run game. So, you know, again, a great challenge, and looking forward to getting home. And we need the crowd packed, and we need them loud. It's going to be a big SEC East game, and looking forward to that challenge.
Questions?
Mark, obviously the last 2 wins over Florida were so emotional, right? Moments for the program. Obviously every year is different, but is there some sort of edge that you guys feel like after those 2, you know, you guys have the edge in that series? Is it confidence? Or
no, I mean, you know, I mentioned last week, you know, when they talked about them beating us in the year before, it really doesn't have any bearing on that game. If it does for our players, if they come in locked in early in the week, then that's the way I expect our team to be anyway. We're playing Florida, you know, you know it's going to take a great effort. You know, we're playing at home. We should have a great sense of pride, and you know, I think there's, you know, that term that we use a lot in our program is that divine discontent. You know, we know there's more out there. We know we can play better, and that ought to be our motivation.
Mark, you mentioned the crowd. The last time Florida played here, I think they had 8 legal procedure penalties. And I think a very sustained and loud crowd played a role in that. Do you worry that a new crowd just has a hard time getting to that level?
I have great confidence in the people of Kentucky that can get up very early and pound some beers. Why would you disrespect this great state and the great people of it? You know.
Graham Mertz for a visit when he was in the portal and you were looking for a quarterback. What did you like about him and what did you see from him?
Graham's been well, first of all, he's been very good with the football. I think they have very few turnovers in general. I want to say he only maybe has one, and he's been very efficient, very smart, getting rid of the football and taking care of the ball and running their offense, and he's been very efficient. So he's played very well.
Mark, after looking at the tape, how did you think Eli and Jagger going back to center guard, how did that look?
Really, Eli was really pretty stable. We didn't have any snap issues, which was nice. He had, we had one MA. I mean, with Eli, had one missed assignment, and Jagger needs to get some reps and get his feet on the ground. We still need to play better inside. We need to play better at guard. And I thought Marcus Cox played a very good game. Not perfect, but he played a good game. We're playing better at right. We got to get playing better inside.
What about Dylan Gray? How's he?
He's done okay. Both he and Jagger had his moments. Again, they've done some good things. Both played different positions. With Jagger playing center and Dylan, playing a lot of tackle early in the season. They're playing inside out of they're playing different positions out of necessity, and both need to grow and continue to get reps. I have confidence in both of them, but we need to play better.
Still same situation with Dorsey.
Yeah, we'll see. I have no updates on him at this point.
You mentioned after the game just the kind of consistency in the run game. Is there a diagnosis of that problem? Like, feel like that you know the path forward at least, sir?
More plays and more carries. I think of 5.4 yards per carry again in that game. It's not horrible, and there was some really effective runs in there. And so, we were 6.1 per play again. It's not awful. We were really rolling again late. We defensively put a lot of subs in and gave up a late drive, but in the fourth quarter, I mean, we were, after we sputtered a little bit, we came out really fast, came out good. Had a few possessions in there that, of course, there were some miscues, and then in the fourth we were rolling good. I want to say we were 11 yards per play, and wish we could have kept on playing, and got off the field. I wish that had been one of our 3 and outs late, but we gave up a 14-play drive in the fourth, I want to say, defensively when we had a lot of subs in.
This week you got that fast start that you were looking for. What do you think is the key to sustaining that for all 4 quarters?
Just, the way we execute. We came out and executed, no miscues. We were clean. We were aggressive. We mixed things up well. We got the run game going. We had the explosive run for the touchdown was really good to see.
Mark, what was it like at halftime when you give up 10 right before that break in the locker room? How was the mood with the coaches and the players? How did the team feel about that?
Well, I think, the team obviously was a little upset by that, but as Coach White gathered the defense and told them just to get back and play ball and be confident, and we can't just have the juice and the energy when things are going good. When things go bad, we got to refocus and execute the defense. I think there was penalties in both of those drives, defensive penalties, if I'm not mistaken. That never helps, and so we got back to just focusing on us and executing.
Mark, I think the stats show Oxen got him 6 tackles. How did he grade that?
Yeah, he did well. I think Ox felt going into the game, he had the tough penalty on him a year ago. I think he felt some responsibility. None of us even brought it up, but he brought it up to me. And even that play, like I told him, I mean, it was not malicious. You know what I mean? It was a penalty because the helmet popped off. I mean, it should be called, but it was very quick. You got it out of there. Helmet just came off. Unlucky, But I think he felt, like he didn't want to let down his teammates. He wanted to play well, and he did.
Ronald Gaines is in on the depth chart. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, Ronald will be out. Looks like for the year. So crazy, non-contact, pre-practice injury. So very flukish, The nice thing is we have a lot of depth there. We brought in Walker, who has been doing the short snaps. Did a good job with the long snaps. He's very, very good. And then we have Clay back as well to back him up.
Mark, you said after the game that maybe more aggressive wasn't the correct way to describe the defense, getting more turnovers, but maybe there was a philosophical tweak there. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you meant by that?
Well, I just think that, number one, we have some guys with some experience up front in particular, coming back that are being disruptive and putting pressure. That always starts there, when you're putting pressure on the quarterback and mixing things up. I mean, that helps. So you're seeing Maxwell, with the two great plays that he had. And it was also nice to see him. He had a penalty or two, but he responded. He came back and made big plays. That's what you have to do at that position. It's a tough position to play. You got to have a short memory. I also think he has a lot of confidence and a lot of juice and excitement, and is always ready to play. And came back and made some really big plays for us. But I think, it's nice. I mean, that we have 8 takeaways on the year, which is, I want to say it's tied for first in the league, so that's been good to see. We've been able to get some takeaways, and we've got to continue to do that. And I like the fact that we had eight 3 and outs, so that's hard to do. And, so they've been making plays.
Florida, they seem to be pretty good at creating explosives on the ground. What kind of challenge is that for you guys, and how are they creating those?
Well, running back it seems to always be a strength at Florida, right? They always have some good backs, but they have 2 very talented running backs. I think it shows that they're committed to running the ball. They know a lot of their big and their explosives come off the run game and the play action off of it. And so I think Coach Napier does a really nice job of being committed to that and staying with the run, and making you defend it. And with some very talented backs, then they're physical up front, and so I think that's one of the main reasons why they're effective in the run games, because they're committed to it.
You also haven't faced, it's been a lot of kind of pass happy teams, so do you have to make that sort of a point of emphasis to be strong in the run fits?
They were very similar last year. I think Coach Napier does what he does, and he does it well. I think he has a very, very good system, and he's pretty committed to that system.
Mark, Pro Football Focus on a thing yesterday saying that Andrew and Maxwell are 2 playing the best of any corners in the SEC so far this season by their grades. I know that's kind of an outsider perspective, but how?
Who said that?
Pro Football Focus.
Yep.
And I just want to know from an insider perspective how.
Yeah, I love our guys and I love the way they're playing or whatever, but I'm not sure that's a great thing for people to read that PFF all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I asked for your.
Yeah, I'm just no. I'm not, and I'm not knocking them. I think there's a lot of really good information that comes out of that as far as getting seeing reps and seeing guys and everything. But yeah, it's again, I'm not demeaning our players. I like the way Andrew's playing, and I like the way Maxwell's playing. I really do. I think they're playing really good football. They've been very unselfish. They're playing really good on special teams, and and doing everything we ask them to do. So I love the way they're playing and the way they're growing. But yeah, that's for the media.
Well, obviously got
defensive, SEC Defensive Player of the Week, and he said after the game that
Who?
Maxwell,
Uh-huh.
that, he talked about all the film study he had put in and things like that. Did you talk about his level of maturity for just a sophomore?
Yeah, I think he's just getting better. I've mentioned it last week in here. I mentioned it the week before. I think I mentioned it each and every week y'all have asked, and it's true. I mean, you see the growth and maturity from him. And again, I like his energy. I think he comes to work every day. He has a great focus about him. He's excited to come to work, and you're starting to see some of that pay off. And we often talk about that, and not every player buys into it, but if you're constantly putting in the work and planting those seeds, and eventually you're gonna reap that harvest. Eventually you're gonna get something out of it, and if you just keep on grinding and working and growing, and I think he's a great example of that, because he's been working for several years.
pick sixes, obviously, but his pass breakups, it seems like he's got a knack for finding the ball. And that PI, it's kind of, it could have gone either way. Is he kind of just
Could have
locked
gone
in?
either way.
I thought it was a no call. Does he have a certain knack for the ball, I guess, that he's found?
Yeah, I like how aggressive he's playing. Where he was playing through the football. He was finishing the play, and you know, that's what you should be allowed to do in this league. I watch people play. I watch other games. I watch elite defenders defend, and they're aggressive and they're strong and they play through the football. It's exactly what we teach them to do.
Mark,
I better stop now.
Mark, what was your evaluation of J.J. Weaver's play?
Yeah, I think JJ's did a good job. He's played a lot of snaps, gave us a lot of energy, played hard, and you know, again, if he keeps on just you know, putting his nose down and playing hard, good things are going to happen. Stats are going to happen. Big plays are going to happen. But disruptive. Our D line was disruptive.
Mark, how'd you feel Jordan Robinson did on Saturday?
Okay, needs some more reps. You know, he's a little rusty. Needs to continue to get some reps and get some playing out there.
Do you have any inclination if Caddis will be available Saturday?
I do not. I feel I'm hopeful.
Mark, with Devin, it looked like it was his best game from a deep ball perspective, hitting on some of those throws. How do you just gain consistency there? Is there still some missed throws and, you know, just...
Yeah, I think just continuing to work. I thought last week as a group, our offense, you know, really worked hard, you know, with the receivers and with him and getting on the same page and getting the timing down and really trying to be more precise and consistent. And at times that showed up this past week, and we're going to get better. We're going to continue to work and grow in that area.
How big has his pocket presence been, just for helping the offensive line kind of navigate through some of those?
I think it's always important. It's important with every quarterback. I mean, you know, you know, I was going to say college, but you better say the same thing in the NFL. You all watch it. You know, I mean, you got to have a great awareness and be able to buy some time. But whether it's subtle movements in the pocket or whether it's, you know, knowing when to escape and keep the eyes down the field and create. I think that's one of the things that Graham, you were asking me about Mertz earlier. I think he does a really good job with that as well. He's very good at moving and being crafty in the pocket, buying time. He will escape and run for effective yards, but he really does a nice job of getting outside the pocket to throw the ball down the field as well.
Pearsall had a pretty impressive catch on Saturday for Florida. How do you, I'm not coach against that, but do you think at least going up against guys like Shepard last week helped get the corners ready for?
Well, you got to get record, but you're ready. But that catch in particular, yeah, you don't get ready for that. That was one heck of a throw and catch. You know, short, you know, or you know, relatively tight window to throw that in and to go up and make that grab and pull it down like that was very impressive. And take a big hit on top of it. So he's a very good player, impressive.
Mark, you noted earlier just how good Florida's defense is. Last year they were nowhere near this good in terms of numbers. What have you maybe seen as biggest differences on film from last season to now?
They're always, you know, they're always big and aggressive. You know, they got some playmakers, and you know, they're just playing good as a unit.
Mark, you had to deal with Dean and the post-touchdown penalty, and I think Vandy got into variance, had a little bit of look like. Is there a maturity issue at play here with these young guys, because they're dealing with a lot?
I don't know if there's I wouldn't, you used the word maturity, I didn't, but is that acceptable? Absolutely not. You know, and Dane was the first one after the game to tell that to me and to tell me he wanted to address the team on that, which, you know, that shows maturity to me, because that's unselfish, or what he did was selfish, and he knows it, and he knows I did not tolerate that. I addressed it last week. I'll address it again. We are not going to be a selfish football team in any way, shape, or form, and he knows that. He handled it quickly. He knows that was unacceptable, and he took responsibility for it, and he apologized to his team immediately after the game for it.